Good night, comrades. Yes, I said good night because it's a good night. So, nocturnal folks, did you know that Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks is real? Not only that, he's currently the lieutenant governor, the second in charge of a whole ass American state, North Carolina. I think that's supposed to be the good Carolina. But yeah, he's real. And I'm going to play this video and I'm going to talk about why exactly he's so dangerous. Like, why the fuck am I talking about this dude? And tomorrow night, I'm going to be talking about Mr. Jackson Hinkle, Tinkle, Sprinkle. So these two are very similar. But I'll let Mr. Robinson, that's his name, Mark Robertson, speak for himself.
A whole lot of people in here talking tonight about this group and that group and domestic.
Okay, first off, never, ever, ever, ever trust a black man that sounds like a white southerner. Never, ever. Black people in the South have our own accent. White people in the South have their own accent, and there the two shall meet.
Violence and blacks, these minorities and that minority. What I want to know is, when are you all going to start standing up for the majority? And here's who the majority is. I'm the majority.
You're not the majority. We're only 13% of the population in the United States.
I'm a law-abiding citizen who's never shot anybody, never committed a serious crime, never committed a felony. I've never done anything like that. But it seems like every time we have one of these shootings, nobody wants to put the blame where it goes, which is at the shooter's feet. You want to put it at my feet. You want to turn around and restrict my right.
So this is where this guy came to prominence. This was his political debut. And it's an unhinged rant about gun rights. Now, everybody who knows me and knows what my position is on gun control versus saltine control knows that I love guns. I'm from Missouri, okay? Guns are dope. But some people fetishize them. Some people use them as a stand-in for an object that may be undersized or that may not work properly. Mr. Robertson seems to be that type of person.
Right, it's spelled out in black and white. You want to restrict my right to buy a firearm and protect myself from some of the very people you're talking about in here tonight. It's ridiculous. I don't think Rod Serling could come up with a better script. It does not make any sense. The law-abiding citizens of this community and many communities around this country, we're the first ones taxed and the last ones considered and the first.
Okay, so he's having a Reagan moment here. In the 1980 presidential debate, Reagan sort of encapsulated petty bourgeois, middle-class white rage when he notoriously went off on the debate moderator, saying that I'm paying for this microphone. So it's always hilarious how Republicans always want their tax dollars to go to stupid shit. Like they want to use their tax dollars to suppress queer people. They want to use their tax dollars to overfund the already overfunded police. But they never ever want to use our tax dollars because I have a job. I pay taxes too. Everybody pays taxes in this country. Even if you are a homeless alcoholic, every time you buy a bottle of Mad Dog 2020, you pay sales tax. So everybody contributes to this country and its fiscal well-being in some way, shape, or form. So I pay taxes is not really a rejoinder, especially if you are arguing against giving free school lunches to kids or funding teachers or ensuring that Medicare for all is a thing or other noble projects. Republicans have no problems with wasting tax money, but they always want to spend it on stupid shit. They want to spend our tax dollars on killing people in Israel and all other sorts of things. So he's already fucking up. First, he has this horrible accent. Then second of all, he's just going on this unhinged rant for no absolute reason. Like the thing with these reactionaries that are obsessed with gun control and they think that some dude in a Men in Black uniform is going to just come knock on their door or kick in their door and take the guns away. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The Second Amendment, after they strip away all of our constitutional rights, the Second Amendment is still going to be there because Americans have too many guns. Like, there are more guns than people in this country. They're never going to take away our guns. So these people have worked themselves up into a paranoid frenzy over something that's never, ever going to happen.
One's punished when things like this happens because our rights are the ones that are being taken away. That's the reason why I came down here today. Gun show or no gun show, NRA or no NRA. I'm here to stand up for the law-abiding citizens of this community because I'm going to tell you that what's going to happen. You can take the guns away from us all you want to. You all write a law, I follow the law, I'll bring my guns down here, I'll turn them in. But here's what's going to happen. The Crips and the Bloods on the other side of town, they're not going to turn their guns in. They're going to hold.
So you're basically pandering to white fears about black gang members coming to their house in the middle of the night to do unspeakable, horrible things. I see why you got elected as a Republican in the South.
And what's going to happen when you have to send the police down there to go take it? The police can barely enforce the law as it is. As what I see, we demonize the police, criminalize and vilify the police, and we make the criminals into victims. And we're talking about...
Except the people that the police are killing are overwhelmingly not criminals. They're innocent people. Like Breonna Taylor was doing nothing but sleeping. George Floyd did nothing wrong. Eric Garner did nothing wrong. Mike Brown did nothing wrong. Trayvon Martin did nothing wrong. Like, there's no objection to the police dealing with criminals, but that is not what they do. They target and attack innocent folks and in many instances murder them or railroad them into prison for the rest of their lives. That's what people are mad about. That's what people are protesting for. And you, as a law-abiding citizen up here on this unhinged rant, like, you don't even understand the own contradictions that are taking place in your head. The police are attacking and harming law-abiding citizens.
Restricting guns? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that when the police department's already hamstrung? You're not going to be able to go down here and take these guns from these criminals. So the criminals are going to hold on to their guns. They're still going to have them. They're still going to break in my house, and they're still going to shoot me with them. And guess who's going to be the one that suffers? It's going to be me. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight, it is not going to happen without a fight. And when I say fight, I don't mean shots fired. I don't mean fists thrown. I mean, I'm going to come down here to this city council and raise hell just like these loonies from the left do until you listen to the majority of the people in this city. And I am the majority. The majority of...
Again, we're only 13% of the population. What majority do you belong to?
The people in this city are law-abiding, and they follow the law, and they want their constitutional right to be able to bear arms. They want to be able to go to the gun show and buy a hunting rifle.
So you've already said that you are not going to violently resist somebody coming to take your guns. And yet, that's partially what the Second Amendment was for. Except the Second Amendment was intended, like, it wasn't intended for people like you, bro. It wasn't intended for people like me. We had to fight a literal war to get our rights on that level. And even then, like, Martin Luther King applied for a gun permit. He didn't get one. The Klan could walk around with guns all they wanted to. So you have a horrible understanding of the fight that we had to wage to get our constitutional rights in this country. Like, the founding fathers, which I'm pretty sure you're going to quote in your next sentence, they saw us as property. They saw us as livestock. Okay? Like, it wasn't made for us. The Second Amendment was developed to help white people better keep us under control. Because in many parts of the South, many parts of your state, we outnumbered them. And rule number one of owning slaves, you don't let your slaves access weapons.
Rifle or sport rifle. There are no military-grade weapons sold at the gun show. An AR-15 is not a military-grade weapon. Anybody that would go into combat with an AR-15 is a fool. It's a semi-automatic .22 rifle. You'd be killed in 15 minutes in combat with that thing. So we need to dispel all these myths, and we need to drop all this division that we got going on here. Because the bottom line is, when that Second Amendment was written, whether the framers liked it or not, they wrote it for everybody. And I am everybody. And the law-abiding citizens of this city are everybody. And we want our rights, and we want to keep our rights. And by God, we're going to keep them, come hell or high water.
Yeah. This was his political debut. North Carolina man's city speech at city council meeting about gun rights goes viral. So now he is the lieutenant governor of the state of North Carolina. I haven't been there, but pretty confident that it's a great state. The sit-in movement actually got its start there. So here he is at a black church. Let's see what he has to say. Hopefully it's nice things, Christian things, things that Jesus would shake his head in approval at if he was still alive.
Here's something else I'm not supposed to say. Ain't but two genders.
Ain't but two genders. All right. So we're not even 4 seconds in, and he's saying reactionary shit. Anybody who studied gender theory or anthropology or any other social science will tell you that in most cultures around the world, there is more than one gender. I mean, more than two genders. There are more than two genders. So, yeah, he's already fucking up. Ain't but two.
Two genders. Ain't nothing but men and women.
This guy tries so hard to push this shit. And I'm certain he believes it, but like it's just amazing seeing these people, like all trans people want to do, all two-spirit people want to do, all gender nonconforming, all folks want to do is be left alone. If people have made such a hash of this, people have made such an issue of this, like queer people have existed for millennia in a variety of cultures, including those indigenous to this continent, including in Africa, where unfortunately this moron's forebears came from. And just you have these whack job evangelicals who have turned this into a fucking shit show. Like, I thought conservatives, reactionaries, Republicans, whatever you want to call them, were all about like live and let live, personal freedom. Yet they have no problem impinging on people's personal freedoms when their own personal beliefs are contradicted by reality. Is it AR-15, not 5.56? It is.
And I can already see WRL out there. They licking their pencils right now, trying to write fierce as they can. Get every word of this here. Get every word of this. You can go to the doctor and get cut up. You can go down to the dress shop and get made up. You can go down there and get drugged up.
And unfortunately, the shit he's saying, a lot of black preachers echo that every Monday. Church-going black folks are extremely socially conservative. Even if many of them are economically liberal or economically progressive, many of them, particularly in the Kojic Church of God in Christ, AMEs, what have you, never mind the Southern Baptists, yeah, many of them agree with this guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if the religious black vote in the South like goes Republican in the next few years, because like, yeah, this shit is spreading, and it's a point of discussion for many people. And of course, being a communist, I'm on the left side. I believe that trans and gender nonconforming and queer people's rights should be defended rifle in hand. But like, people have staged shootings because they believe that queer people are engaging in grooming behavior. Like, I have seen no instance of that taking place, but once a narrative, just as we've seen with Palestine and the state that isn't real. Hey, Nate. Once a narrative gets set in people's heads, certain few people are willing to fight to the death and kill for these erroneous beliefs. So that's why it's important to combat these reactionary beliefs as they arise. Otherwise, a lot of good people are going to be hurt.
But at the end of the day, you were just a drugged up, dressed up, made up, cut up man or woman. You ain't changed what God put
It's hard to listen to this shit.
in you, that DNA. Put in you, man or woman. You ain't changed what God put in you, that DNA. You can't transcend God's creation. I don't care how hard you try. The transgender movement in this country, if there's a movement in this country that is demonic and that is full of the spirit of Antichrist, it is the transgender movement.
I don't know. I would say that prosperity gospel is more anti-Christian than people who just want to live their lives.
Time for...
Like, by your standards, did God not make us all? And did God not make trans people? Did God not make two-spirit people? Did God not make all of us? So, I went to Sunday school. I read the Bible. There is nothing in there stipulating that it is right to go into a church, a religious institution, and preach hatred. So, this is, ironically, what you're doing is a man-made, astroturfed bullshit. So, if anything, you're the Antichrist, my friend.
Grown-ups, and time for Christians to start standing up and being unafraid to tell the truth. Come after me if you want to.
Except what you're saying isn't the truth. Come after me if you want to. You've got this whole victimization narrative. Like, nobody is going to come after you because the milieu that you surround yourself with, you are a black Republican in the South in a church. Like, nobody is going to disagree with you. And the thing is, like, they always have this bogeyman of leftists. Like, leftists don't want to. Leftists have not been violent in this country since the 70s. Okay? Like, offensively violent. So, you're fighting a fucking straw man. You're fighting a boogeyman. It doesn't exist.
I don't care. You want my head? Here it is right here. Come on, come get it. I don't care because it's time for us to stand up. Now, I'm not afraid to stand up and tell the truth about that issue.
That dude has some very sweaty hands.
They're dragging our kids down into the pit of hell, trying to teach them that mess in our schools. Tell you like this, that ain't got...
I went to public school in Missouri. Some people consider Missouri the South. Some people don't. I'd say that it has both northern and southern aspects. It's part of the Midwest. But we were not taught about transgender people at school. Okay? Like, they barely teach sex ed in school. Again, a myth.
No place at no school. 2 + 2 don't equal transgender. It equals 4. We need to get back to teaching them how to read instead of teaching them how to go to hell. Yeah, I said it and I mean it.
And there's a bunch of videos about this weirdo, by this weirdo. So, he's running for governor of North Carolina. This video was released on April 24th of this year. Let's see what other stupid things he has to say.
You can't forget. For me, one of them is this tree in front of my childhood home. You see, I grew up poor here in Greensboro, the 9th of 10 children. We had no phone, no air conditioning, no car. What we did have was an alcoholic father who beat my mother. Despite all that, he was still my father, someone we counted on. When I was in the 5th grade.
So you're justifying the fact that your father beat the shit out of your mother, so you're justifying misogynistic abuse and child abuse.
My father died. My mother had a choice: kick her feet up and live off the government, or get a job.
Are you fucking kidding me?
My mom took her 5th grade education and walked across the street and got a job at a university. She cleaned up after other people's children to provide for her own. She told me to dream. She told me with faith and hard work, I could achieve
I just can't even with this fucking Bubba Gump shrimp ass accent.
anything.
She taught me to dream. She taught me hard work. She taught me the shrimping business.
She was so right.
History made in the Tar Heel state last night.
Who exactly is Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson?
I'm the majority.
Robinson, do you swear?
I do. I stand before you today as the first black lieutenant governor of North Carolina.
Well, at least he knows he's black.
Served in the military. I've worked in furniture plants. I've been a general manager for a restaurant chain.
Okay, so this guy has a working class background. He's worked working class jobs. And this just shows that, like, people have false consciousness. Like, many of the working class in this country have reactionary sentiments. Like, this guy is a straight up Republican. And he grew up poor. Abusive, horrible childhood, courtesy of his dad. He saw his mom breaking her back, yet he has no sympathy. And he wants to oppress others. That's what Du Bois would call false consciousness. Like, you don't understand the importance of solidarity. You don't understand the importance of allowing people to live their lives as they choose. Like, I have many, many queer friends. I have many, many trans friends. Like, they're not trying to teach your kids how to be trans, okay? Because they themselves were not, like, it's not something that you're taught. I was not taught to be gay. This is something that is innate to me. And the fact that people think that we're somehow trying to groom or brainwash kids to be like us, it's just ridiculous. They do not understand how any of this stuff works, and they don't want to understand. Like in that speech at the church, he was ranting about teaching kids how to read. Like, can he read himself? Has he studied any gender theory? Has he read any James Baldwin? I don't think he has. So this guy is willfully ignorant. That's dangerous. Like, this guy could be the next governor, the next executive of a major American state.
And I owned a small business with my wife. As a factory worker, I made good money. Till NAFTA hit.
Yeah, blame other people for your problems. Blame the Latinos.
I lost my job not once, but twice. My wife and I faced these tough times as we worked to raise a young family with 2 wonderful children.
Oh, beautiful family, I'll give him that.
Like so many of you, we know the gnawing feeling you get from worrying about money, how it keeps you up at night as your children sleep. I've lost my car, my home, and was forced into bankruptcy. Like you, I don't need a politician to tell me what to be.
You are literally a politician. I hate when politicians do this. You criticize politicians, yet you're running for office. You hold an office. Like, pot, meat, kettle.
Be worried about. It's obvious. We know the price of gas and groceries and childcare is outrageous. We know too many children can't read on a grade level, that they've been failed by an education bureaucracy that's leaving them unprepared for
Oh, Lord. This guy's obviously a big charter school supporter.
life once they graduate.
So, Mark Robinson is a homophobe and bigot on steroids, the worst type of human being, forever stuck and holding on tight to the hatred of the 20th century.
Graduate. And sadly, we know our teachers aren't respected and aren't treated or paid as the professionals that they are. We know that shuttered factories like the ones I've worked for have left scars all over the small towns of North Carolina. We also know that our police departments are struggling, that they can't fill their ranks because we are demonizing the men and women in blue.
Now they can't fill their ranks because nobody wants to be a fucking cop.
North Carolina doesn't need more slick politicians who use work boots and Carhartt jackets as props in TV
What are you wearing?
ads. They're just pretending to be one of us. You see,
Us versus them.
it doesn't take an Ivy League education to understand the problems we're facing. What it takes is somebody with a backbone and a vision who cares about serving instead of climbing the political ladder. I'm running for governor because we deserve to be represented by someone who's actually lived like us. Someone who wants to serve, not rule. I don't care about the zip code you live in, the size of your paycheck, whether you're black, white, straight, or gay. None of those things should determine your future or your child's future. No one should have to choose between paying for medicine or making a trip to the
Yeah, so he's a big liar. He hates gay people. But here he is raving about nobody should be oppressed because they're gay.
I.e., we believe in principles, not just ideas. And those principles yield the result. Look.
What are you talking about? Like, one thing about reactionaries is that, like, they will be able to say two contradictory things, like, immediately after each other. So, more about this guy. He's a Facebook brawler. He's very online. He's a Gen Xer. He's not a boomer, but he acts like a boomer on Facebook. Few things he said. Why is it that calling Jesus a homosexual pedophile and displaying his image and symbol in a bucket of urine called free speech, while slandering, in quotes, the Prophet Muhammad is called offensive and unacceptable? More. I believe that homosexuality is a sin, and those people who are proudly coming out of the closet are standing in open rebellion against God, and I don't care who knows it or likes it. Crime-ridden black neighborhoods are that way because many of the people who live there would rather fight the police than fight crime. I want to put this in all caps because I'm yelling. I like the police. I hate crime, and I dislike criminals and want to see them caught and punished. What is wrong with that? Many exclamation points. So, stupid things that he said. Extremely anti-Semitic. Robertson has expressed support for the rioters who stormed the U.S. Capitol in the January 6th attack, whom he dubbed political prisoners. He has shared posts suggesting shadowy satanic and occult forces are plaguing society, along with multiple conspiracy theories about New World Order. In many of his posts, Robertson made clear that he enjoyed offending those who disagreed with his extreme views. Keep in mind, this man is a stone's throw from the North Carolina governor's mansion. Note to liberals, I'll accept gay pride when you accept W pride. Since taking office in 2021, Robertson has made headlines with his prolific Facebook output, including last year when he shared baseless conspiracy theories about the attack on former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband. What did he say about Nancy Pelosi? He got one of his memes shared by Elon Musk. On Saturday, Robertson posted a picture on Facebook that uses a recent meme format of a spirit Halloween costume with a humorous list of costume items. The version that Robertson shared captioned, "I'm sorry, Paul, I don't believe you are the press," shows an attacker in underwear holding a hammer with the list that reads, "Underwear, hammer, lame story to the press." Reportedly, when he attacked Pelosi, Robertson asked, "Where's Nancy?" His online footprint involved rambling posts that discussed election fraud and amplified QAnon ideas. QAnon is a conspiracy theory that alleges that high-level politicians, including Nancy Pelosi, are part of a cabal of Satan-worshipping baby murderers who influence world events to serve their intentions. Back to this. In 2021, Robertson sparked outrage from Jewish groups when he published a post filled with Yiddish slurs and references to Israeli currency, wherein he declared that the Black Panther superhero movie was based on a character that was created by an agnostic Jew and put to film by satanic Marxists in an attempt to pull the shekels out of your schwarze pockets. Schwarze is a Yiddish racial slur for black people. It literally means black. These comments that drew attention are not Robertson's only controversial take on Jewish issues. Over the years, Robertson repeatedly questioned why criticism of Nazis was such a prominent part of political discourse. He argued that Nazism was defeated in World War II, while the continued spread of communism was a more pressing problem. In one of these posts, which has not been reported before, Robertson seemed to veer into Holocaust denial. Robertson says, again, stone's throw from the North Carolina governor's mansion. There is a reason the liberal media fills the airwaves with programs about the Nazi and the 6 million Jews they murdered, wrote Robertson. There is also a reason those same liberals do not fill the airwaves with programs about the communists and the 100 plus million people they murdered throughout the 20th century. Okay, I went to college, okay? I don't know if Robertson has. I also watch television. I grew up on History Channel. Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot. Well, Pol Pot was a communist, but anyways, you cannot escape in the United States, which is an inherently anti-communist country. Bullshit. Most of which is outright bullshit about how many people communist regimes have murdered, okay? Like, most of my educational work as an online communist has been debunking bullshit. Like, there is a myth that the Shining Path supposedly boiled babies alive. Like, literal cartoon shit. So a lot of my work as a Maoist has been debunking stuff like that. Because in schools, Robertson is talking about queer propaganda, gay propaganda. None of that stuff happens. There is plenty of anti-communist propaganda. It's on the news. It's on television. People trying to gin up a war with China because they think that China is still communist. It isn't. But it was at one time, so it's the big bad enemy. During the Cold War, when my parents were growing up, the big bad was the Soviet Union, which was also not communist during the 70s and the 80s. It was a revisionist state. But Maoist disclaimer aside, like, nobody's being taught to be a communist in university. I'm a communist because of my life experience and because of my own independent reading. So, Talking Points Memo reviewed 7 years of Robertson's publicly viewable Facebook post. Cigarette Enjoyer says, pop up, there you go. In Serbia, our main TV channel, pretty much daily, there is some shitty commentary talking about how Tito was bad because he killed Chechniks, basically Yugoslav fascists, and other civilian collaborators during and after World War II. Oof. So, he considers gay people a filthy abomination. I mean, I'm an abomination, but I'm not filthy. Robertson says, I believe that homosexuality is a sin and that those people who are proud of coming out of the closet are standing in open rebellion against God, and I don't care who knows it or likes it, Robertson wrote. In another message posted within a week of the June 2016 mass shooting at Pulse, a gay nightclub in Florida, where 49 people were murdered by a gunman, Robertson stressed that he would not be willing to share images of the rainbow pride flag, which were a popular sign of support following the tragedy. Robertson says, okay, here it is. And it may make some folks mad, but oh well. First, let me say that I pray for the souls of all those killed, healing for all those wounded, and comfort for the family members of the terrorist shooting in Orlando, Robertson wrote, before adding, however, homosexuality is still an abominable sin, and I will not join in celebrating gay pride, nor will I fly their sacrilegious flag on my page. Sorry if this offends anyone. In other missives over the years, Robertson called same-sex relationships a sin, a mass delusion, a filthy abomination, and a satanic cult of sexual perversion. Note to homosexuals, do not compare my skin color to your homosexuality. My skin color is a beautiful, God-given attribute which helped my people survive in the conditions of their native land. Your homosexuality is a filthy abomination that satisfies your degenerate, unnatural lust. So it just goes on and on and on and on. A decade of extremely online anger. He supports the Confederate flag. So you know you're black. It doesn't seem that you're ashamed of being black. So why the fuck would you fly a flag that represents a slave regime, a feudal slave regime that enslaved our people? As Robertson posted through the events of the past few years, he went from a Trump skeptic to Trump supporter to standing and posing next to Trump at a rally. Robertson's first 4 years of posts earned little engagement. As Trump took office, he seemed to be building a following and began posting homemade images that he stamped with the phrase M. Robinson memes. So this dude talks about how he worked at a furniture factory. He also worked at a meme factory. Like, this guy got elected lieutenant governor and is probably going to be elected governor because he's terminally online and he knows how to meme. Gen Xers can't meme and boomers can't meme. Only millennials can meme. When boomers meme and when Gen Xers meme, they end up becoming fascists. He also increasingly embraced conspiratorial ideas. On multiple occasions, Robertson posted about the globalist agenda that he believed was being enacted by the socialist/communist agents and their globalist masters. Robertson saw this hidden plot everywhere, including as he tried to watch sports on ESPN, which he believed featured leftist New World Order globalists. The term globalist has anti-Semitic roots. This is going to be really important when I take down Jackson Hinkle tomorrow night. I know you all are looking forward to that. It is often used in conjunction with conspiracy theories about the Jewish financier George Soros, which advocacy groups have criticized as also being steeped in anti-Semitism. Over the years, Robertson repeatedly posted about Soros, including describing him as having grand schemes and evil visions aimed at trying to destroy our nation. At points, Robertson's anti-gay posts also parroted claims that would go on to form the core of QAnon and groomer conspiracy theories, which baselessly tie queer people to child abuse and trafficking networks. Robertson wrote, we have pushed homosexuality over the top. Robertson wrote in 2014. Mark my words, pedophilia. Pedophilia. He talks about kids not being able to read, but this guy can't fucking write, which will be closely followed by the end of civilization as we know it. Pedophilia. Charleston Wright. I don't know who that is. So, Robertson's ideology is very much a product of the right-wing internet. His political career was also essentially born online. Robertson first ran for office after a pro-gun speech he gave at a city council meeting in 2018 went viral. His public speaking has also included extremism that has made headlines, even though it seems to appeal to Republicans in his home state. However, the rhetoric and even his fiercest live remarks pales in comparison to what can be found deep in his massive Facebook archives. In particular, the black community has been a major target for Robertson. In various posts over the years, he referred to black people as muddle-headed Negroes, apes, and a monkey. Now we know the answer. If you give the monkey a hammer, he will not build a house. February is Black History Month, so I thought this guy was proud to be black. He's married a black wife. He has beautiful black kids, but yeah, this is real life fucking Uncle Ruckus. February is Black History Month. I guess the shortest month of the year is all we need to learn about the separate but equal history of a people who have achieved so little, Robertson wrote in 2014. Random thought, after Christmas edition, Robertson wrote on January 8, 2018. Kwanzaa is Hanukkah on food stamps. Someone asked me if I considered myself part of the African American community. I told them no, Robertson wrote in 2017. They asked me why, and I said, why would I want to be part of a community that devalues its fathers, overburdens its mothers, and murders its children by the millions? He's talking about abortions. He doesn't like those. Why would I want to be part of a community that sucks from the putrid tit of the government, which he is a part of, and then complains about getting sour milk? Yeah. This guy is fucking, I'd say confused, but I think that he knows what he's doing. A lot of this shit, like, I don't know if he went to a white school or not. I don't know if he grew up around white people, But this is something that somebody who went to a white school and had only white friends, this is shit that people like that say. On the plantations of the southern United States, it was house servants and Negro overseers who kept the master informed about troublemakers and facilitated the divide and conquer that kept the masses of slaves compliant and in control. These house slaves and overseers did their dirty work for a few crumbs off master's table and a spot on the floor, like a dog, in the big house. Today it's no different, only now it's reverends and senators and rappers and actors, and their payment is fame along with money. They are parasites who love money and seek power. Unfortunately, that money comes at the expense of those who they claim to be fighting for, and the only real power they have is holding the chains that continue to keep many of those people in bondage. It's time for people, not just black people, to see these bastards for what they are. Bloodsuckers who are sapping the strength out of our people. Yeah, that is totally not anti-Semitic at all. And it goes on and on and on and on. And here it is. It's a mirror. The tool that would spot 99% of the problems in the African-American community. So this guy got himself elected to the second highest position in North Carolina's government by being racist against his own people. That whole white privilege crap kills me, Robinson said. The red-headed slaves of Rome would get a real chuckle out of that term. So would the miners of Ireland in the 1800s and the factory workers of London during the Industrial Revolution and the Pilgrims. Okay, the thing is, all of those people came to America and they were assimilated into whiteness, and they were privileged over black people because everybody in this country is privileged over black people. People characterize their success in this country by how far they can get away from large numbers of black people. So, yeah, we're kind of fucked on many levels by this country. The fact that you, as a Republican and a black man, like, you have a beautiful fucking family, but you were able to get elected to the lieutenant governor by dogging out your own people. He's also more into conspiracy theories. Between his extreme attacks on various groups, Robertson sometimes shared more personal gripes. Robertson has written about esoteric beliefs, and now it's time to play. How many occult symbols can you spot in the Olympic Games opening ceremonies? He shared a meme that described Obama as a top-ranking demon who was giving a medal for proudly serving in Satan's army. Planned Parenthood doing the devil's work with liberal support for the New World Order. The only fact that has come out of this Bill Cosby story is that the Illuminati will destroy you if you piss them off. There's another meme. I don't believe the moon landing was faked, and I don't believe 9/11 was an inside job, but if I found both were true, I wouldn't be surprised. This is probably the worst. I know this may sound paranoid and crazy, but I truly believe that the judgment format of these reality competition shows, such as American Idol, Dancing with the Stars, Chopped, etc., is a sign of things to come in the reality of the New World Order, wrote Robertson in 2015, before adding an ominous hashtag, time will tell. I guess he fancies himself the dark-skinned rock or something. Yeah, weirdo. He doesn't like Paul Pelosi. He doesn't like Nancy Pelosi. I don't either, for different reasons. Now he's in office, and he's trying to cover up his anti-Semitic conspiracy theories by promoting Solidarity with Israel Week. We are here to condemn the extremist actions of Hamas and its allies. If Robertson wins the 24 Republican primary, he will likely face Democratic frontrunner Josh Stein, who is Jewish. So, we've already talked about his conspiracy theory bullshit, which he still believes, by the way. He's never repudiated any of this stuff. Hitler disarming millions, in caps, of Jews and then marching them off to concentration camps is a bunch of hogwash. That's not verging towards Holocaust denial. That's outright Holocaust denial. Never mind the fact that he's calling people Schwartzes and talking about shekels. So, how's his polls looking? This is the latest one, September 1st through 5th. Change Research. It's a democratically sponsored poll. Stein at 38, the Democrat, and the Republican is at 42. So Robinson's up 4. Opinion Diagnostics. This was in June. Stein 38, Robinson 41. May, Stein 41, Robertson 42. All of them have Robertson ahead by a couple points. Well, except for this one. The only ones that have Stein ahead are the ones when he's not running against Robertson. So, North Carolina Republicans really love Robertson. They really love his conspiracy theories. So, this is another banger from him. That's a thin blue line Penny's wearing. If you're not American, thin blue line basically means I love to suck cop boots.
Reparations in this country. They wanted. There are some people that were talking about reparations in this country. They wanted reparations. And I remember I made this particular liberal so angry at me because I told them right to their face, nobody owes you anything for slavery.
Wow.
If you want to tell the truth about it, it is you who owes. It's you who owes. Why do you owe? Because somebody in those fields took stripes for you. Somebody after those fields were ended and slavery was ended, somebody had to walk through Jim Crow for you.
And many of those people who walked through Jim Crow and many of those people who walked through slavery supported reparations. Like there are literal reparations societies founded by freed slaves after the Civil War. You're full of shit. You don't even know your own history.
Somebody fought wars and died for you. Somebody lived less than because they didn't have what you have, and they did it for
And you want us to continue living less than?
you.
Also, that fucking pocket square is tacky. You've got pins on both of your lapels. You're dressing like Trump, bruh. Like, this dude is literally dressing like Trump. He's got the same oversized blue suit, white shirt that's probably too big for him, and the tie. He's got pins on both of his lapels, and he's got a tacky-ass pocket square. Like, this guy's a fucking minstrel show character.
There are people in their graves right now, and they are there because they were willing to stand up and fight for you.
Unlike you.
Those folks on the Edmund Pettus Bridge carrying American flags, take that, Colin Kaepernick, living in a society that he could...
Okay, so he's talking about the struggle of our ancestors. Then he goes back to, we already talked about this. He is denouncing his own people. Thomas Jefferson and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Keep in mind, he just brought up the Edmund Pettus Bridge. That was the march site where protesters in 1965, during one of the voting rights campaigns, got the shit beat out of them in Selma, Alabama. He's talking about Martin Luther King Jr. both having faults. Why is it only acceptable to talk about Jefferson? Okay, I don't think Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. owned slaves.
Scarcely acknowledge something that he has never known, living with a bigotry that none of us can imagine. Carried American flags on that bridge, and when they were hit upside the head with nightsticks and shot with water hoses and knocked to the ground, they got up and picked those flags up and kept marching. And they did it for you.
They certainly didn't do it for you because you don't appreciate their sacrifice.
Nobody owes you anything. If anybody owes, it's you. Because you've been the benefactor of freedom.
Bro, we're still not fucking free in this country. What are you talking about?
You are the one that owes. And what do you owe? You owe it to them to get up off your tail and get to school. And when you get to school, you owe it to them to get up off your tail at school and get to work and get some learning in your head.
Bro, you can't even read and write. Shut the fuck up.
And once you get that schooling in your head and get out of that school, you owe it to them to get to work And then when you get to work and you get married, you owe it to them to take care of your children and not let the government take care of your children.
Does this guy realize that the civil rights movement was in major part about making the government provide, like, and enforce civil rights legislation?
It's you who owe. Nobody owes you a single solitary thing. The sacrifice and blood that has been laid out in this nation on your behalf, there is a bill at your feet for it. It's time.
No, it's not. Like, what were we just supposed to lay down and let the shit get beaten out of us? Like, this guy's just ass backwards.
You got up off your tail and went and go pay it.
And all of these white people are applauding this stuff. Like, if you're giving a speech to a bunch of white Republicans in South and North Carolina, and they stand up and applaud you, no, that's the flag of North Carolina. And if you're giving a speech to a bunch of white Republicans in North Carolina, and they're applauding you, you did something wrong. You said something stupid. He's not in Texas. There's an NC on his flag. That's the state flag of North Carolina. So he doesn't like women either. Granted, many of these women are liberals, but the gist of his critique is extremely misogynist. What has he done? What has he said about women? Michelle Obama. Mr. Robertson has repeatedly referred to her as a man that is racist and misogynistic. He said she speaks ghetto and Wookiee, referring to the language that Chewbacca speaks in Star Wars. He called her an angry, anti-American, communist black lady and said that she emanates the stench of human waste. On Vice President Kamala Harris, he called her a joke, a nitwit, and a leftist idiot who supports the right to murder the unborn. On Hillary Clinton, he created and posted a meme with an image of Clinton decapitated. He called her a witch and compared her to the Ku Klux Klan. Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, he said that she is a bitter, angry loser who hates America, the devil, a wannabe despot, and compared her to dictators Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, and Mao Zedong. Elizabeth Warren, he called her a dingbat and also compared her to Hitler, Stalin, and Mao Zedong. On Representative Frederica Wilson, he called her a lying, liberal, bottom-feeding, pond scum, leftist, dressing like a rejected drag queen from Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain didn't have any drag queens in it. Representative Ilhan Omar, my DSA comrade, he compared her to a Ku Klux Klan member. Representative AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who I'm not particularly fond of politics-wise, but she's also a DSA member. He has a bizarre fixation with Ocasio-Cortez, calling her dumb, stupid, a moron, a shithead, a complete idiot, a leftist lunatic who has been possessed by the political Satanism of socialism. As dangerous as cyanide and Kool-Aid, he also appears to have photoshopped an image of Ocasio-Cortez's head onto Adolf Hitler's body. Taylor Swift, he mocked her as Trailer Shift. Ellen DeGeneres, he called her Ellen Degenerate and a phony. Jane Fonda, he referred to her as an old witch, which is remarkably tame for this guy. Oprah Winfrey, he accused her of being racist and implied that she aided disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein's sexual abuse. Joy Behar, he called her a she-beast and said, "Shut up, stupid leftist," in response to her calling for Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh to take a lie detector test amid his sexual assault allegations. Alyssa Milano, he said she is a Hollywood moron and in the same post called Hollywood a cesspool of drunken, drug-addicted, hypocritical leftists, pedophiles, and rapists. Ashley Judd, he posted a meme accusing actress Judd of trading sex for an Oscar, which the meme said is not rape. It's actually much more like prostitution. Prostitution is technically rape. Beyonce. He said Beyonce teaches our young women how to be hypersexual whores and that she's not a singer. that is an objective lie. Halle Berry, Mariah Carey, and Issa Rae. He commented on their outfits, saying they were dressing in see-through, ultra-tight, breast-bearing whore dresses to protest sexual harassment. Cardi B. He claimed that the stench of indecency Americans are smelling is not coming from Pepe Le Pew, the cartoon skunk in Warner Brothers cartoons, but instead was coming from the garbage-like filth displayed by Cardi B. Brittany Griner. He made fun of the basketball player for being detained in Russia, calling her a leftist stooge with arrogant ingratitude who deserves to be in prison. Yeah. So, again, back to the polls. In every matchup between Stein and Robertson wins. This guy could be, might be, will be the next governor of North Carolina. Big QAnon guy. He shared the "where we go one, we go all" bullshit on Facebook. Then he was promoting a bunch of conspiracies about pipe bombs and other horrible things that were found in the aftermath of the January 6th incident. Robertson is also a regular proponent of conspiracies, claiming the music industry is being run by Satan and the Illuminati. He has called Beyonce's music satanic and described Jay-Z as demonic and sent by Satan to turn people away from Jesus. He suggested that the 2014 Boko Haram kidnapping of schoolgirls in Nigeria was orchestrated by billionaire Democratic philanthropist George Soros, a frequent target of anti-Semitic attacks by Republicans. And this is Trump's guy. He has the backing of former President Donald Trump. Robertson has also modeled himself after Trump and appears to be trying to deflect all criticisms in the same way, said Chris Cooper, a Democratic wonk. All of the North Carolina political experts HuffPost spoke to for this story said Robertson is likely to be the GOP nominee for governor and possibly will go on to become governor, given that North Carolina is a swing state. Is he married? Does he have kids? Yes, he is married, and he does have kids. He has a beautiful family. Unfortunate that they have to be stuck with this asshole. Of the major election forecasters, the Cook Political Report rates the race as leaning Democratic, while Inside Elections and the University of Virginia's Crystal Ball both consider the race a toss-up. So, back to his Twitter. Normal lieutenant governor shit. Visiting factories. He's leading the pack in the Republican primary. Like, all of these other people are eating his fucking dust. He's sitting at half of the polls. Big fan of the U.S. Navy. Well, let's see what he has to say about Israel. Let's see what he has to say about Israel.
As acting governor, I have declared
He was acting governor of North Carolina.
Thursday, October 12th, through Thursday, October 19th, as North Carolina Solidarity with Israel Week throughout the state. I've also proclaimed a day of prayer throughout the state to begin.
A day of prayer. Keep in mind, this is the same guy that's talking about shekels and Goyish pockets and agnostic Jews. So, this is part of why I abandoned my hardcore Maoist line that voting never changes shit. Like, this dude cannot be allowed to take fucking power, take fucking state power. Like, we talk about how bad DeSantis and all these people are. Like, this guy is an actual fucking lunatic. He's basically edging QAnon. Like, here he is. Like, he's constantly sharing things in solidarity, things about Jewish holidays, despite him being a raving open anti-Semite. So, if you're in North Carolina, you have my atheist prayers. Because if this guy wins, you're going to see some shit. Catch me tomorrow night when I'm going to be taking down Jackson Hinkle tinkle, sprinkle. He's dangerous, just like Mark Robinson. And I see a lot of people retweeting his stuff, which they should not be doing. Why should you not be doing this thing? Well, I'm going to tell you why tomorrow night. Good night.